Bad news, guys. God doesn't love you. I mean that he doesn't love you in the sense of the Drake lyric that goes, God's playing favorites, it feels amazing. Because if God is really looking over your shoulder and providing you blessings every day, why is he depriving those blessings to the many, many people in the world who are suffering mightily? Why would any reasonable God give Drake all of his blessings and then make someone else work minimum wage, lose their job, become homeless, and then die of a drug addiction? Why would that happen? That's not any kind of God that the Bible talks about or any other religion talks about or that I would want to believe in. So what's going on here? Basically, people want to fall on two ends of a scale. The one end being pessimism, feeling that the universe is hostile, everything is working against them, everything is terrible, nothing is going to work out. On the other end, that a God is watching over them, making sure that everything is wonderful, that nothing bad will happen to them, that they are favored by God. Meanwhile, for some mysterious reason that we don't think about, other people get in car accidents and die and horrible things happen to them all the time. But not to us, because God loves us. Do you see how this is kind of narcissistic and weird and shallow to think in this way? Yeah, kind of. But what we can do here is take a completely different approach, the approach of winners. I learned this playing poker, of all things. Winning poker players do not think about how unlucky they are, or how they're having a bad night, or that God hates them, or that God loves them, that everything is going their way. Winning poker players know that each hand has a certain chance of winning, and that every hand has a certain price at which it should be played. And all they do is calculate how likely they are to win based on the money they're putting into the pot, based on what they know about the other players. Which means poker players, when they're playing well, because sometimes they do fall into the trap of thinking, I'm blessed or I'm cursed. When they're playing well, they are totally at peace. And this was my favorite thing about playing poker, was feeling that I am making the right decision here. I have a 40% chance of losing, but 60% is enough at this price. So I'm going to go forward with this, and even if I lose, I can feel good about how I played this hand. And when people say play the hands they're dealt, I think this is what they mean. I think they're getting at something deeper. All you can do, which is hard, is take an earnest and assiduous audit of the chances you actually have of succeeding, of the things that are working against you, of the things that are working for you. And once you've done that, you need to take a look at the world around you and see how that fits into your chances of succeeding, your chances of dying, your chances of getting what you want. And then you develop an emotional relationship to the world and the decisions you make. What you don't do is feel like every time something bad happens that you're cursed, and that every time something good happens, you're a god who is being magically blessed by forces beyond your control. Because, guys, if you've read history, and I recommend reading history, we know that good people get murdered all the time, and horrible dictators and conquerors and evil people get the most insane blessings bestowed on them. Why should that be? It makes a lot more sense to me to say, the reason that Genghis Khan conquered all of Eurasia and murdered so many people that he changed the CO2 levels in the atmosphere, because the stirrup and mounted cavalry with bows is an extremely, extremely effective piece of technology. And therefore, if you have enough mounted cavalry, you're going to conquer Asia in the 1100s. That feels a lot better to me than saying that Genghis Khan conquered because evil people always win, and it's a dark, evil universe. And it's even better than saying, because Genghis Khan was destined to win. Genghis Khan was a son of God, a magnificent man, a prophet. It's neither, guys. All that happened was that he had an effective army, and effective armies beat less effective armies. And the reason that you're losing is for a very discrete set of reasons that you may not be aware of, that at least some of which could be fixed. And this means that you need to take a look in the mirror, and this is why people don't do this. It's actually emotionally easier to think you're cursed than to look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm this tall, I'm this good looking, I'm this smart, I'm this skilled, I'm in this country, I'm in this world, I'm in this time, and if I put all those things together, I can see where I fit into things as of this current moment, and then look at what my next move should be. That is a very hard process, and it takes some time, and that's why almost nobody does it. They instead export that emotional relation to the universe to a religion of some kind. But I'm telling you guys, if you do this, you can be at peace in the way that a good poker player is at peace. You can say, I did this thing, I took this risk, and it was the best thing I could have done, and if it doesn't work out, that's that. People that don't do that hard work almost never get that feeling. When I don't go through this process and I instead just leave a decision up to this weird feeling of destiny or this weird feeling of being cursed, then I never really know if what I did was smart. I just know whether I got lucky or I didn't get lucky. And that's not good information to go on as I continue on into the future making more decisions. So what you need to do is look at yourself, look at the world, make an honest assessment, develop an emotional relationship to your circumstances based on that objective reality, and then act with the peace of mind that comes from knowing you could not have tried any harder to make the right decision. That's all.